Welcome, Courtney. We have Courtney Willis. Hello, and thanks for being with us today.
Hi,
It's a
Tara. I'm
very
so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. So, Courtney, you're a consultant with the Kuching Jubilee House, and you're also the founder of Kids That Give, which is awesome. The work that you do is so important for our community and those that are in need, but also for the children and for our future generation to really empower them to give back and understand the value of community and giving back as well. So, thanks again for being here. This is awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So I'd like to dive right in. If you can tell us a little bit about the Kuching Jubilee House and what kind of programs and services that they offer to the community.
Sure. So, Kuching Jubilee House is a registered charity. They're a transitional housing provider and women's program. They're located in Aurelia, but we serve homeless women and children from all across Simcoe County. So the program is really about providing supports, tools, and resources to help women get back on their feet and sort of redirect their life to give them, to feel empowered that they can sort of change the course of their future, as many of them have had challenges and they're experiencing homelessness. So we're here to support them and to invite them into a community of women that are really all about elevating them and making them see their value. So that's the core of what the program is. It's a charity that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm very proud to be a part of the organization.
Wonderful. And just recently in the news, we heard locally that the Children's and Women's Shelter of Barrie is actually underfunded and overbooked. Do you guys have any similar situations with the Jubilee House? Do you find that there's often a wait list and a great need in that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, we know that right now we're in a housing crisis. Simcoe County is one of the top of the list for, the needs for housing. It's pretty unbelievable. It's quite scary actually. And really it's the responsibility of all of us to kind of address that problem. And Kuching Jubilee House is no different. We had a successful capital campaign in 2015 that closed. So we actually are fortunate. We own a fourplex building that hosts our families, but of course that is just a small drop in the bucket in terms of the needs. So we typically have a wait list of about 25 families that are desperately searching for transitional housing. So it's just a never-ending need that we can't seem to keep up with.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So there's always a constant need there. Can you tell us how how somebody can get involved as an individual? It might not be somebody that owns an apartment complex, but just as an individual, how they can get involved and how they can help and
Yeah.
support.
Absolutely. So if you're somebody that's looking to get involved with the organization in terms of helping support the women and children that we are taking care of in our program, there's a lot of ways you can get involved. You can make a donation, obviously, that supports our programs and all of the wonderful things that we're doing to help these women and children. Of course, we're always looking for volunteers. We always say that old saying, there's no gift more precious than your time. And we truly, truly believe that. So we accept volunteers in all kinds of really interesting roles, actually. So we have everything from people who assist with planning our fundraising events to women who work one-on-one as mentors with our clients, to people who are drivers and get called on to assist the women getting to and from appointments. So we're really open to whatever gifts someone has to share. It's an amazing way to get involved and to help and to advocate for what's happening in our community.
I love that. I love that you talk about volunteering because I know so often, especially during the holidays, when people think of, giving back, they think of buying things and they think of making a donation, which is very much needed, but also our time, right? And I love that you mentioned that mentorship program. And so there's so many other ways that people can get involved and volunteer as well. That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more? Typically, when somebody comes to you and enters into a program, how long do they usually stay? How long does the support last within the organization?
Sure. So at Jubilee House, we have a couple different, I'll call them pillars of how the program works. So because we are so limited in the number of housing units we have, that would be sort of our core program. The families that stay in those apartments typically stay for up to a year. They
Okay.
can stay longer. There are sort of legislation around how long they can stay, but our goal is that we're able to provide them the support they need so that their stay is around the 1 year mark. And at that time, they're ready to move into the next stage of the program, which is getting them into permanent housing. Then there's also the many, many women and children that we provide supports for that aren't in the housing. So that they could be the people that are on our wait list. We have many, many, many clients that drop in for necessities, toiletries, gift cards to buy milk, diapers, things like that. So those clients we consider still part of our program, and some of those women who might never actually be in our housing because of the needs or however that admission is decided, but they might be part of the Jubilee family, we call it, for years. So last night, actually, we had our annual Jubilee House Christmas party, which is an event where we invite everyone that has come through our doors, whether it was on day one or now 20 years later, if you're part of the program now. And it's amazing to see that many of those families do come back to celebrate with us because they have actually made friendships and feel part of a connected community. And it's really awesome to see. So for those clients, there's no time limit. We'll support them for as long as they need.
That is wonderful. I love that they really feel a sense of family and community, and it's an ongoing and on-lasting relationship. That's wonderful.
That's our hope. That's our hope. Yeah.
Yes. And if anyone wants to get in touch, how can they reach out? And do they go to the website? Is it easier to email? How can they contact the Jubilee?
Sure. Going to our website is the best way. It's just jubileehouse.ca, and there's lots of information on there. Our volunteer application is on there. There's contacts for whatever your inquiry is, and then of course we know that many of our clients who need support, they might not have access to the internet, so we do try to spread the word about our organization. We work in partnership with a lot of social housing agencies, social workers, physicians, things like that, so that we can make sure that the clients who are actually looking for our support can find us.
Wonderful. And my last question in regards to the Jubilee House, if somebody is watching and they own a home or an apartment or a room, is there any ways that they can directly get in contact with you guys to perhaps offer some support? Or do you guys work with third-party organizations? How can somebody support if they actually do have a space available that they could provide?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. And actually, I would encourage someone like that to contact our office and speak with our program director. Her name is Bree Plew. And what will happen is she will sort of be the conduit between a housing worker and that individual. So every case would be just sort of determined on a case-per-case basis how we might be able to use those resources. But definitely, please reach out to us directly. And if we can't establish a relationship or something, then we will definitely find someone who can, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for providing all of that information. Now I'd love to talk about Kids That Give, because you are the founder of that organization. And I want to know, where did the idea come about and how did it all start?
Sure. So I love talking about Kids That Give. It's my little passion project. So I'm not sure if you've seen, lots of people in the charitable sector or people who are regular donors have kind of seen this surge of giving circles, right? So Ripple of Kindness and Gals That Give and 100 Women Who Care. And so these amazing things are happening in all these communities with people who want to come together and make a collective impact. So my cousin, Jessie, is part of 100 Women Who Care in Stouffville. And her son, Terry, she takes him to 100 Kids Who Care in Stouffville. So I've been watching their journey and thinking, giving is such a huge part of my life and my family's life, not just financially, but in our volunteerism. So now that I have a son of my own, I definitely was like, that's what I want to do. I think that's amazing. when I looked for a group like that here in Barrie, I couldn't find one, not for kids. So after some sort of, initial inquiries to the moms groups, and they said, well, I don't think we have one, but why don't you start one? And so here I am. That's kind of how it snowballed into me starting this group. It's most of our events are in the Barrie area, but we do have registered members from all over Simcoe County. And I do hope that we'll be able to move it around so that as many kids who want to be involved can in the county. And I started in 2019, so we're just wrapping up year one, and it's been absolutely awesome. Yeah.
That is wonderful. I love how you saw that there was a need and that we didn't have it here. So you just, took it by the horns and started by yourself. So that is awesome. And so how many kids are involved at this point after year one?
Yeah, so we have 120 registered members.
Wow.
So we have kids from basically anywhere up to age 17, but most of our members are between 7 and 12.
Okay.
So it's been fantastic. It's a very inspiring project. And of course, my family's very involved with it. And it's something that I'm hoping to see continue to grow.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about how it works? So somebody goes, they register their child, and then what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the core fundamental of the group is that the kids and youth will get together twice a year, and each of the kids will donate $10 of their own money, their hard-earned money. So we encourage them to raise that money themselves if they can. So we'll come together at an event, and at that time, we will have 3 of our members who are pre-selected based on a random draw will present on a charity that they feel the money should be donated to. So they have the opportunity to nominate charities or causes that they think is deserving of our group donation. The kids present. We've had them bring in pictures. We've had them bring in speakers. They do all of the work themselves, and they try to convince the group why that particular charity should earn the donation. And then all of the kids have the opportunity to vote. So it's very hands-off for the parents and guardians. We try to really encourage the kids to take the leadership role, and they've been doing that amazingly. It's been awesome. And once the kids vote, then we make the check presentation to the winning charity, and we then invite whoever earned that donation back to a following meeting to share with the kids what that donation did for their organization, so they really get a sense of the impact. It's pretty amazing because our last winning group was Street Cats Rescue, and I think our total donation for the day, we had a donation of almost $1,000.
Wow.
Which was pretty exciting. Some of that was sponsor match from some of our incredible sponsors,
Yep.
But so the actual portion that the kids raised was around $400 or $500, and it seems like a small amount, but it's actually quite amazing what they shared with us they're able to do with that kind of money, the number of animals that they'll be able to spay and neuter. So it's really exciting for the kids to see the power of what they can do. And that's sort of the premise of the group. I try to make the events fun. Did included a rock painting, a kindness rock painting activity. And we try to make it fun so they really get a sense of the joy of giving.
I love that. So it's twice a year, $10 of their own money that they raise, that they contribute, but they're also learning about, they're learning how to research, they're learning about other non-for-profits and what options are out there to give. It sounds like just such an empowering experience. And being able to give back and what that actually feels like, because I think that's
exactly
what we're trying to teach, and that is awesome. If someone wants to get involved, again, is there an application form? How can they do that?
Sure. So we have a website. It is kidsthatgive.ca. The information on how it works and our events and everything that you need to know is on there. The registration is just a simple Google form, and the purpose of the registration is really more for parental consent. And then you simply come to our events. We do have some other campaigns that we do throughout the year. So right now we're doing a Headphones for Youth Haven campaign, and the Kids That Give are getting very involved in advocating and spreading the word, which is another amazing part of giving. So again, it's not always about giving those dollars, but a simple share button on Facebook, or a kid telling another kid about this cool thing is advocacy, and that is giving back as well. And then we'll be doing some other volunteer related activities as well that have no monetary value, but are just about getting the kids involved in volunteering in the community.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. When is the next event that's coming up for Kids That Give?
So once we wrap our Headphones for Youth Haven campaign, which is going on right now, our next event will be in the spring, and we'll do another big, awesome giving event. I hope we'll have the most number of members attend yet, and we're really excited about where it's going. And I'm so proud of all these kids that are learning these skills. And it's really, they're learning about empathy and human connection, and it's so much more than the dollars. And it's been pretty awesome to see these kids. They're pretty proud of them, and we're proud of them too.
Yes, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney, for being with us today and for sharing all of that wonderful information. I hope that a lot of viewers will see this and they'll go onto your website and register and get involved, whether that's volunteering, giving, donating, whatever they can do. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for all that you do for our community. It's greatly appreciated and much needed. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye.
Bye.